When you don't want anything, life gives you everything that you want. That is one of the most powerful states of being you can live in, not wanting anything, not being attached to any outcome, to any goal, to any desire, but feeling so full, so complete, so content with your life now that you don't have a need for anything, right? As the Bible said, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And that's the sweet spot. And it's so hard to, get in that state. It's so hard to maintain that state because there's so many demands, there's so many things, there's so many, tricks that your ego has over you to make you always chase something or someone or sometime. But if you can understand that the less you need something, the less you want something, and it's different from giving up on your goal and desire and just becoming a monk in a freaking cave. It's very different. It's not about giving up any idea or any goal or any desire for a better life, but it's understanding the energy dynamic. It's understanding that the more importance you have on something, the more you see the power as being outside of you, the less power you have in you to understand that I am. Your consciousness is the source of everything that you create in your reality. And so if I am whole and complete, well, there is no lack in my life. So this is the state where if I am complete, how could I ever need anything to completely outside of me? How could I want money to make me happy, or that person to make me feel loved, or these things to make me, all of these are great and the good and the bonuses, but I am the present that gives lives to all of those experiences and not the other way around. Because when we trade our power by chasing external things to fill a void, to give us something emotional, because everything that we want at the end of the day is to feel a certain way, is to change our state in a certain way. It's a certain journey of consciousness, right? I am here and I want to be there because I want to feel a different way. I want to go from this contraction, from this contrast into an expansion. And this is the power of detachment, the power of simply understanding that the less desperate I am, the less needy I am, the less importance, the less thing I put on a pedestal, the more power I have over what I create in my life. When you're not trying to impress people, this is when usually you make the biggest impression. When you go on a date and you're not needy and you don't have that desperate vibe, or please like me and so on, this is usually when you connect the most. This is usually when people get the most attracted to you. But you've probably even been in a situation where you have to make a YouTube video and you try to script it and find the right idea and nothing comes. Because it's so important, you have to make it, right? You have to make the right presentation, you have to make the right thing, you have to close that sale. When you're in that state, when something feels important, the outcome must happen, and it must happen in a certain way. You know that this is often when not only we perform the poorest, because stress is high, we overthink and we perform less, but that life makes things harder. You get red light after red light after red light, and this happens and that happens, and things just pile up, or you get delayed, or we've all been in this situation. You try to remember a name, you try to find out where my keys are, right? And the more you try to force it, the harder it is to get it. But when you go and you relax and you do something completely random, when you completely don't care about it, the idea comes. The client shows up out of freaking nowhere from a referral. You remember the freaking name that you don't care about anymore, right? You got all those things, those synchronicity that just flow usually when you're in that state of flow, when you're in that state of relaxation, when you're present, or when you're doing something where you're in a state of expansion, which a lot of people call your zone of genius, right? Your zone of expansion, your zone of high frequency, your whatever you want to call it. When you're just in a state of expansion, this is usually when the synchronicity are flowing to you, and you have to become very aware of those things in your life. Because when you start to see the pattern in your own life of when are you creating the best outcome for you versus when are you making things the hardest for your life, when you see the pattern, all you have to do is model your reality, model what you've been already doing. What are the things that are the easiest for you to create, achieve, manifest, bring about in your life when you're not even trying, you're just good at, and you don't even value? Because often the things that we're very good at, the things that we attract the most, that we do very well, that other people struggle with, come very easy to us. And because it's easy, we often don't assign it much value. And that's a mistake. But notice the rule here: low importance, I don't really care about it, I just do it. And because I like doing it, my state reflects that. And usually this is when things flow. So notice the pattern of what is it that is so easy for you to always have an abundance of, or things that are manifesting in a certain way in your life, things that you just naturally attract when you do those things. And where in your life are you struggling the most with? And notice that most often it's because you have attached a certain amount of importance, or you put that goal on a pedestal. Now I need to have it, right? I'm not okay without it. That's the visual response, is that if it doesn't happen, something will happen. I will look bad, I will look stupid, I won't be as good as others, or, you have all that spin, all that voice, all those energy, all that contraction, all that anxiety, all that desperation. And the more desperate you are, the more you pursue what you want, because your energy now is, your power is given to that thing. And now that thing has you by the balls, so to speak. So you have to understand the power dynamic here, is that those things that we want, it's okay to want them, it's okay to have them, it's okay to go for them, it's okay to want the desired reality. But you have to understand the power dynamic, as the metaphor that I really love, the giant and the grasshopper. If you think of yourself as a grasshopper and all your goals are the giants, and they're, what you need to become a giant yourself, you'll never become a giant until you can realize that the power that you have in yourself is to realize that you've been a giant all along, that your consciousness, your I am presence, that God essence in you, that gives you the ability to create, to generate, to bring certain things into reality. When you acknowledge that, you cannot live in a state of powerlessness, despair, and neediness, and expect to create anything different in your life than perpetuating that state of anxiety and neediness and so on. So this is why I said earlier in this video, is that the less you care, the more you get. And when you don't need anything, this is when life showers you with everything. Now, you still need to be very intentional about what you want. Don't get me wrong. It's not about giving up, chastity and all that crap. You need to know what you want. But it's the dynamic between what you desire to create in your life and who you are now. The sweet spot, again, and this is the sweet spot that is, even for me, is very difficult to stay in that spot, because, again, one moment you go unconscious, one moment something happens, boom, your old frequency, the ego mind is back, and you're back chasing and you're back this. So you have to wake up sometimes. You have just to realize that I'm doing it again, I'm chasing again, I'm in the state of contraction again. This is why self-awareness is so important. But when you bring yourself back and you understand that, okay, if I can be happy now, as if I already have everything that I want, if I can feel complete, as if I already have what I want, that's the state. Not only the state that's going to make this day a beautiful state, it's going to make my life, less anxious, less desperate, less freaking annoying, and less suffering. So not only is it going to give me a direct benefits of I feel better in my life, and so let me do what needs to be done. Let me take the action. Let me take the inspired thing that I need to do, that I will do anyway, but let me do it from that state where I feel complete, where I feel good. Let me write that email, or let me make that video, let me go at work, let me do my thing. But let me do it from that state that I have nothing to gain, but I have everything to give. Because what you give always comes back. So if you give desperation and anxiety and all of that, you get more of that. But if you're complete, you attract completeness, and life will work very hard to make your life even more complete in whichever way is best for you, and based on who you are, what you want, and so on. It's a paradoxical way of understanding reality, because from the moment we're born, society teaches us the hustle, never be happy, right? And this is the family that I grew up, the kind of environment I grew up in. Work harder, like the boomer generation of get retired and then be happy, right? But until then, fucking grind, and then until they give you that gold fucking watch or whatever the fuck, be happy. Wake up and realize that the power is in you. If you need anything to make you happy, or to complete you, or to make you better or whole or something, or to fix you or heal you or save you, you're operating from a place where you gave all your power away. And so often, yes, you need to let go of certain idea, or certain emotional scar, or certain things. But when you can realize this powerful lesson, this powerful teaching, and that your energy, the less you need, the more complete you are now. the more magic and miracle you can create and attract in your life. And if you need help on your journey, you can book a one-on-one session with me down in the comments. Let's go.